Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, the other week, I believe around about a week or so ago, I released a video basically saying a lot of big changes were in the works for Gran Turismo 7. And one of those main features, which is a feature which pretty much everyone's been crying out for months since they, kind of announced it or said they were going to implement it in March and still haven't, is, well, you guessed it, selling cars. Now, Nenkai, the guy that pretty much data mines everything to do with Gran Turismo, is an awesome guy. I'll have his Twitter linked in the description down below, and there you can see the sources for this information. He pretty much leaks all the daily races. He's able to look into the files, see what's coming, see what's not coming. He's also able to see that things like the Porsche VGT Spider was pretty much identical to the original and all that good stuff, pretty much before it kind of arrives in the game anyway. So I was kind of looking through and I was thinking, do you know what? There was obviously the information that it's been ready for a while and it's got everything ready to be implemented into the game, but exactly how will it work within Gran Turismo 7? And well, I was kind of just diving through his tweets, trying to find some useful information on it, and it was actually an older tweet where he'd kind of outlined exactly how selling cars is going to work. So let's get into it, and hopefully it kind of clears a few things up. Now, I'm going to warn you, those that are absolutely waiting on edge for selling cars, yeah, you might end up feeling a bit disappointed if all this actually comes to light. So it's actually a thread that he's created for this. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to read out the whole thread in his own words, and you can kind of make of it what you think. I'll give you my personal opinion on it after I've read it. So here we go. He says, so regarding car selling, I've long joked about how everyone seems to be begging for it despite it being quite a useless feature in such a game. Since it's basically done for a while but not yet done, I think it's time to disclose how it works. A thread. He says, first off, seemingly it'll work within the used car dealership. It's unknown whether there's a restricted list of cars that you can sell that will cycle through. You can and will have to appraise a car to assess its valuation. This is the main limitation. The amount of times you can appraise a car is limited per day. The amount of tuning applied to each car may affect the sell price, each part also having a set price. It may be possible to see past appraisal price of a certain car from the past, up to 2 weeks. Engine swaps will increase tuning sell price of a car by a bit, but in general, fitted parts will increase the sell price by 10% of the parts price, assuming unchanged. Of course, mileage also plays a part into the valuation. Only non-duplicate, non-DLC and non-load cars from manufacturers can be sold from what I can see. The price you can sell cars for is based on the server, but is expected to be like older games, 1/5 or so. All in all, this very GT7-like feature, taking car selling literally, I did say car selling would be quite a journey. I don't personally mind it if you're supposed to make good use of the credits to begin with, and it's always been unworthy to do so in older games. And of course, do not take this as an indication that it may actually work that way. It could be entirely different for all I know, but it's been ready client side since at least update 1.15 to 1.17. And then he puts a little correction at the bottom saying duplicates can be sold, but only duplicates. Now, this guy's never really wrong, to be honest. If he is, he will correct it later on. And the fact that this tweet's been laying about for quite a while, suggests to me that he's pretty much got it spot on. He's not had to make a single correction since, obviously, the last part, which was about the duplicates. Now, if it does work this way, there's a big risk that a lot of people are going to be really not happy with it. However, it does seem like a very GT7-like feature. They are very tight with the credits. Obviously, the whole game seems to be sort of geared around microtransactions and such, so they're not going to want you to make a ridiculous amount from those cars. Now, if you think about it, prize cars, they will probably just be discarded, more than likely. That's how it worked in GT Sport. That's how it's going to work here. So for those of you that are thinking, I've got a ton of prize cars, I think it was the NSX Group B rally car that we essentially had a ton on from like the roulette ticket glitch days, more than likely you're just going to discard them. You're not going to be able to get any money back from them. It's kind of obvious that's how it works. It works that way with most games, to be honest. The main thing that kind of worries me, or irks me a bit, I guess, is the actual price of it. So if we are selling a car for a fifth of its value, but Gran Turismo and Polyphony are sitting there saying, well, we want, like the Haggerty cars to be, reminiscent of their real price. Well, what's that really doing? You're saying you want those to be in line with the price, but then you're going to give us a fifth of, what the car's actually worth, including tuning parts. It also kind of brings light to why tuning parts and certain things like that do actually have a price attached to them. If you have a look at the parts that you've won through roulette, you'll see that each individual one actually has a price with it. So if you've got that on the car, let's say, I don't know, you've got the crankshaft and it's worth 10,000. Now you're going to get, what, 10% of that back. So that's going to be worth 1,000 instead of the 10,000 that it was actually worth on the card. I mean, in my personal opinion, selling cars has never been a big deal anyway. For me, it's more of a declutter. So these prize cars I've got, that I've probably got multiple variants of, I'm not really that bothered about having them in my garage. So I'm more than happy to let them go for free. In terms of credits, I would never really expect selling cars to be something that will give you credits back. I think a lot of people are thinking that way, and I just don't see it ever working that way. It was never a massive feature within other Gran Turismo games. I think the only time I remember selling cars being useful, I want to say Gran Turismo 4, and there was a car in there that you could really get away with selling because you could rinse and repeat it and keep earning that car, and it was worth a ton of money, especially early game. So it was actually one of the only ones that was worth selling. Now, for me, Gran Turismo is a car collector game, so I am not overly bothered by selling cars. I'm there to collect them, do different versions of them. I never really get sick of it. Now, the only thing that does annoy me is the clutteredness of the garage, and I feel like a better way to and I feel like that's why a lot of people want selling cars, because it's cluttered. If we could get another view of, or kind of way to sort cars, alongside the selling cars, that would make everything much, much easier for a lot of people. And that would also kind of, I guess, free up a lot of people's complaints, because you do see that a lot where people are saying, look, I'm going into my garage and it's just cluttered full of duplicates. Now, if we can get them kind of sorted into different categories and such, where we can view them individually and separately, then we know what to get rid of and we know what not to get rid of. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that'd be the perfect way to do it, considering I'm not really overly bothered about selling cars. But if selling cars does happen and work this way, then this feature people have been crying out for isn't going to be, really too useful anyway, and I think it's just going to annoy people even further. So like Nenkai said, take it with a pinch of salt. It may change. Polyphony are known for doing, last minute changes to the way they plan things. But I mean, I've got a feeling this is exactly how it's going to work. It seems a very kind of Gran Turismo-esque feature in terms of how Gran Turismo is these days. It's not a way to make money back, really. You're going to be getting absolutely nothing for cars that you've probably grinded hours for. It just does. I feel like it's just going to be very limited, and yes, it'll be released into the game for those people that have been crying out for selling cars, but then I feel like those same people are just going to be bitterly disappointed either way when it does actually get released in the game. So me personally, like I said, I don't really care. It's not a big deal for me. I think I'm going to be better off in terms, if I want those credits, I'm better off just going and throwing myself around the track for 20 to 25 minutes, but that's my personal opinion. I don't think it's going to kind of work the way we're going to think it would. I think it's going to be very limited. I think there's the possibility they're going to limit you to kind of what cars you can sell on a given week, which again will kind of go in line with the legendary dealership and with their kind of fluctuating prices. But I don't think we're going to get fluctuating prices. I think you're just going to get a set amount, which if it is a fifth and the parts are 10%, you're looking at next to nothing for cars that you could have spent millions upon millions on. So I want you guys to tell me what you guys think. If it does work this way, are you going to be happy with it, or are you just going to be happy to see it in the game, or are you like me? Do you not really personally care if it's in the game or if it's out the game? You know, just let me know what you guys think. It would be kind of cool to get a few different opinions. Anyone that kind of just shoots off and starts slating the game constantly, look, come on, that's not really a discussion, that's just you being, you know, salty and angry at the game. What I kind of want is a proper discussion to see what is some of the good points you might think about it and some of the points which you may not quite like so much. Or do you think it's going to be useful to you? Do you think it's going to be useless to you? Just let me know. You know, I want to kind of see what the overarching opinion on this whole thing is going to be. So that's going to be it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.